This episode of the podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/lightscameranonsense. Visit patreon.com/lightscameranonsense to help support your favorite new movie podcast. Now, let's roll that reel.
Zach, the weather has been nothing but nice.
Frightful.
I know. Yeah, I see a lot of people driving their boats around, ready to go to the lake. You know, if you had a boat, would you be driving around on the lake?
No.
You're not a boat guy?
My boat would be in the marina, and if I was on said boat, I would be doing nothing but getting drunk and eating pizza.
Oh, that's what you would do? That's your boat life?
But it's on a boat, you know? Like,
that's your idea
scary.
That's your idea of a party, though, is...
Yeah, where I'm the only one there.
Eating pizza.
Yeah.
Leave me alone, world. I don't know. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Lights, Camera, Nonsense, where we give you all the latest movie magic you may have missed. I am Nick. I did not come up with a middle name for this week. Simmons.
And I'm Zach. Please still vote Smith.
Yeah, see, look at this guy being proactive and all electoral. And on the week of October 10th, not week of October 10th, it's the end of the week, it's Saturday, you know, however you want to base it.
Well, it is the week of.
I mean, it's on that
it's
week.
It's included.
Saturday, October 10th, 2020. Let's roll into the previews. Zach, what have you been watching?
So I watched a few things that were all centered around the same theme in terms of what they provided. And that would be witches. We had a game plan going into October.
Oh, great! You're already going to put me on blast. That's perfect.
I'm not putting you on blast. It's both of us.
Not sponsored.
That game plan was thrown out shortly after I had already watched all three of these
That's
things
fair.
that I watched. But originally that was what we were going to do is some themes every week, but we just honestly didn't have the time, and our schedules are too hectic anyway with just general life stuff.
Yeah. We do have lives
anyway, outside
of the podcast.
We do, believe it or not. Anyway, the first movie I watched is kind of an older movie, quote unquote. It's from 1960. It's Black Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen this?
No, but when I was trying to research when we were coming up with the game plan for this week regarding witches, I'm like, okay, what's a great witch movie? And of course, you get the typical ones, which I'm sure you have watched.
20 lists.
Yeah. Top 20, top 10s, and Black Sunday was on a lot of people who were auteurs.
It's generally considered a more kind of artistic movie, and kind of like what it does with shot composition and everything like that. But yeah, Black Sunday, also known as The Mask of Satan. I'm not sure. Well, I was going to say I'm not sure why they went with the different name, but it was just depending on what market it was released in. I think Mask of Satan is like loosely translated from the Italian name or something like that.
Fair enough.
But yeah, released in 1960. It's like an Italian Gothic horror sort of film, directed by Mario Bava, I think.
Okay.
Who's generally does all his stuff in kind of the same style. Mario Bava, actually, not Brava.
Oh.
Bava. Yeah, so I sat down to watch this, kind of going into it thinking, like, I know this might be a little dated, but supposedly it's supposed to be really good. And what I found was that while it does do a lot of things that are impressive for the time in terms of like directing and camera work and all that, it's kind of run of the mill, and by today's standards, it's not very shocking.
Oh, okay.
Which was a big thing when it was first coming out. It had to be re-edited quite a few times depending on its market because it was so gruesome at the time. And while there are shots that are kind of like, like there's a regeneration scene for one that is like pretty gross, where there's like maggots and shit crawling out of his
Ew,
skull.
gross.
Yeah. There's nothing like blood. Like, it's not very bloody or anything like that.
Right.
It's filmed in black and white. And okay, so the premise of it is this witch. They don't really call her a witch ever, and in some like translations, she's referred to as a vampire. So it's very strange. But she's a witch. She's practicing Satan's magic and whatever. She's put to death at the very beginning of the film.
Well, the end.
But before they're able to burn her body, there's a torrential downpour, which is kind of it's basically presented like the last curse that she levies upon the town and her own descendants because her brother is in charge of the Inquisition that is killing her. Has caused it to downpour, thereby canceling out any scheduled burnings. So instead she's buried in a crypt, and 200 years later some fucking doctors, they just call each other doctor, but I think only one's actually a practicing physician. And even then, it's a little loose.
I like you breaking down this really old film. Now, wait a second. We haven't seen their doctoral degree, so can we really trust the validity of their statements? Come on.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. They fucking stumble upon the crypt, and so part of what's really neat about this movie is what it does, and for things that, like, at this point we just kind of take for granted. So there's a scene where when they get to the crypt, they're attacked by a bat, and instead of actually showing the bat, they just have what is clearly like two pieces of paper on a stick.
Awesome.
Like flapping behind the camera, and they're projecting the shadow onto the wall.
Okay. I mean, that's creative, though. You gotta give them that,
so
right?
it's getting around technological limitations. But anyway, as they're trying to defeat this bat, at which point they fucking shoot the bat, which seems like overkill.
It's good aim, though.
It is. They release the witch, and then she's regenerating throughout the movie and causing havoc. And it's pretty run of the mill. Nothing super crazy to write home about in terms of plot. To the point where the last shot is the hero, which is he's the younger physician, is embracing the love interest who they've shared like maybe 3 conversations throughout the entire film for a span of like a minute. Embracing her and going, don't worry, like the blight of Satan has been cleansed from this land, and then the end, So it's
perfect, yeah. Roll credits.
It's very, very, very by the book. But yeah, it's cool to see, like, in terms of artistic or like technological sort of approaches, that kind of thing. It's good shot composition, but ultimately I was kind of underwhelmed, especially because the dub, there's like 5 different dubs for this movie. And the one I was able to find, which is not the original, it's the second dub.
Okay.
And it's really like the most widely available, and even that's kind of hard to find, is super campy.
Like they didn't really put much care into it. Like they were just like, let's have fun with it.
Yeah, and it's not, well, and that's kind of the thing too. It's camp, but not like fun camp. It's just kind of bad. So like quality wise, that kind of takes you out of it. I have a feeling like if I was able to watch this with the original dub, which from what I hear is much better, then it would be like a really good slow burn, sort of like, even if it's still by the book, it'd be a good like slow paced sort of horror. But as it stands, it's kind of like schlocky, but like below B movie, it's like C plus movie.
Well, I mean, that starred Jerry Seinfeld. It was about bees,
sure.
man.
Yeah, of course.
Got him.
But the dub leaves a lot to be desired. And then the last problem I had with the movie was not with the movie itself, but because it's so unavailable.
Right.
I had to watch it on Tubi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which you're familiar with Tubi, yes?
I am, yes.
So Tubi, for those unaware, is a streaming service where everything you don't want to watch is hosted, or anything you don't really care about is hosted. With the drawback being that although it's free, you are beaten over the head with ads. It's like
every 30 seconds.
It's like how you would watch, like back in the day, a movie on cable television.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, you get 15 minutes of the actual movie and then like a 5-minute commercial break.
Yeah.
Which if you're watching like kind of an action movie or like a sitcom or whatever, like that might be one thing, but for a movie that is already kind of slow as it is, I think the runtime for this is like an hour and a half, and it took me like 2.5 hours to get through. That was not fun. I did after a point though, it's like sunken cost fallacy. You've already invested so much time, so it's like I might as well finish this.
Yeah.
But I am glad I am able to say that I've seen it because, as previously discussed, it is helmed as kind of like a progenitor of like the style of filmmaking that it employs.
So it's would you say it's like on the level of Ed Wood type movies, or is it far better filmed and far better acted than say some of his?
So the acting is hard to judge because like from what I can tell it's serviceable, but because they've dubbed everything with not the cast that originally filmed it,
right, or
even the original dub, which was one, it was there's less delay, and two, it was way less exaggerated, so it was kind of like in line with a normal dub. So because they go so off the rails, there's points in the movie where they're clearly saying something, like exclamations or something, but this dub doesn't have anything there, so they're just kind of like mouthing silence. And you can, or even sometimes you can see that they're saying something, but they didn't bother to dub whatever that is for whatever reason. So it's just kind of like, unfortunately, the scarcity of the original dub. And just even this version as well, it's kind of hard to judge it based on the merit of its intent, or like how it was originally supposed to be presented.
Yeah.
All I can do is judge what I've seen, and that is like I think it's the second US dub, but it's pretty much what any dub that you would be able to find. After like 30 minutes of this one, I was looking to see if I could find the original anywhere. And unless you're willing to shell out like a couple hundred, or maybe not a couple hundred, but close to 100 off of Amazon for like an old DVD, not even a Blu-ray,
that's harsh.
You're probably not going to get your hands on it.
Just messed up. You would think that there would be like a cinema purist that would have uploaded the original dub somewhere.
Well, I'm sure whatever rights holders there is probably cracked down on that pretty hard.
Yeah, and considering it's lauded as a classic, that
correct,
it's like having a really famous baseball card and then holding on to, or like a comic book or Pokemon, whatever.
So that was that one. Kind of meh. Overall,
good start,
but like I said, I am glad to have been able to at least say, or now I can say that I've seen at least a version of that. The second film I watched was Gretel and Hansel.
Okay, so this was really, really close to being a film that I watched, but I knew that one of us was going to have watched it. Another film that gets brought up as a top witch movie, and I think really because of it being so recent, it's high in the search results too.
That's interesting that you say that you had heard about it being good, because I had heard nothing about this. This was
really?
This was supposed to drop earlier in the year,
like January, February.
I think it was like March.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when the pandemic really started hitting us hard, it was one of the ones that got pulled and went VOD. I think, if I'm remembering that correctly. I might not be. But I had heard nothing about it, and I had kind of been looking forward to it too, because it looked pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So Gretel and Hansel is, by all accounts, Hansel and Gretel.
Whoa.
But with the title flipped, because the director wanted the emphasis to be on Gretel, and this is her movie. Gretel is Sophia Lillis. Is that her name?
I don't know. It was pretty small film. It's from the same producing team as The Witch. Sophia?
She was in It Chapter 1 and 2 as young Beverly Marsh.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah. Yes, Sophia Lillis.
So she's Gretel, and she's pretty much the only person that you would probably recognize in the film.
The witch herself is actually played by the Coven leader in Silent Hill.
Yes, she was also in Star Trek First Contact.
Yes, so take that.
Generally speaking, though, most people will only recognize Sophia Lillis from It and what's that Netflix show that just got canceled?
I Am Not Okay With This.
I Am Not Okay With This, yeah.
Yeah.
So this tells the story. It's bookended, or I guess, yeah, kind of bookended, but first it's introed by the story of this young baby child who was born into this village. Yeah, that's a weird way to phrase it, but I'm gonna keep it.
Oh, just keep going. Let's just keep going.
This baby child is born into this village, and she was very, very beautiful. It was a beautiful baby child.
Okay. Weird.
The only problem is that she's super sick. To the point where her father takes her up to a peak of a hill, because that's where all things like this happen. Mm-hmm. Because importance.
It's the circle of life. That hill. Yeah. Well, it's more of a rock. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Anyway, the father makes basically a pact with the devil. He's like, "Please save my child. I'll give you whatever you want." The devil's like, "Okay, yeah, we'll see about that."
Yeah.
So after the child is saved, she starts to have magic abilities. It doesn't use them for very nice things. They tend to be a little bit more on the nefarious side.
That crafty devil.
And after a while, the village is like, fuck this shit. And basically just tosses her down a hole. Or ships her off somewhere. I don't remember.
There's a big difference. One is Samara from The Ring, and the other one is, I don't know, boarding school?
Well, whatever happens to her, whatever trajectory she's sent in, whether it's vertical or horizontal.
I was going to say, like, by a trebuchet. Send that baby child out of here.
Yes, the evil baby child. She's sent away. She's no longer in the village.
Right.
But then you come out of that story and you have Gretel and Hansel, who are just kind of around. They're part of it's not said whether it's the same village or not, but the village they are part of is basically abandoned. Nothing's growing. There's no jobs, except for like prostitution.
Oh, the oldest profession.
And their mother can't afford to feed them, so she's like, "Get out, or I'll murder you." as any loving mother would do.
Sure, yeah, that happens.
So they leave, obviously. And then as they're trekking around, they're like, hey, we're super hungry. And then they end up at the witch's place and yada, yada, yada. That's pretty normal. The difference in this is that Gretel is actually a witch.
What? Spoiler.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Well, it's like halfway into the movie.
Oh, okay.
And honestly, it's the only interesting thing about the movie anyway.
The twist.
So I don't really feel that bad about spoiling it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when they're at the witch's house, there's clearly stuff going on. She has all this food, but she never goes out to like the market to get anything, or she doesn't get any eggs or anything for like all these fucking cakes that she has. And so as they're like kind of questioning this, or Gretel is anyway, Hansel is super useless. Because he's like a 5 or 6 year old child.
Just dead weight, basically.
Yeah, he is dead weight. And that's kind of a part in the movie, too, where the witch is like, you'd be super better off without him around.
You're right. And then just flies away with lightning powers.
Yeah. No, not like that.
Oh, okay. Like Raiden.
There's a point where Gretel's like, I'm sick and fucking tired of taking care of you, so like please run off into the woods so I never have to see you again. Which she doubles back on. But yeah, the whole premise basically is that Gretel is a witch, and there's like this undercurrent of like female empowerment and taking control of your destiny in a man's world, that sort of thing. Which is, to its credit, it's a definitely an interesting take on it. Unfortunately, the rest of the movie is pretty bland. They do this thing which I really fucking hate this, and it's the narration over the movie without any contextualizing.
Right.
So like you get Gretel's inner thoughts, but it's not like I'm writing this down in a diary or like I'm telling someone my story or some shit. It's just her inner thoughts. And I think used effectively, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
The problem I'm finding is most people are just using it to explain what's happening.
Yeah, it's a tell rather than show type situation. It's
not only is it that, but they're trying to explain what's happening without just being direct about what's happening. So they're like, my heart was warming to the thought of controlling my destiny, or blah, 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 blah. It's like,
superfluous.
You just showed me that in a fucking camera shot. That's what camera work is for.
Yeah.
What acting is for. Like, you don't need to fucking... It's so annoying. I feel like it's on the same level as, like, back a decade when everyone was trying to use fucking shaky cam. And to the point where you had...
But it's realistic.
Yeah, well, there were the okay ones, the good to okay ones. And then everyone else was just like... Same thing with found footage. Like, I fucking hate the narration thing. It's seldom ever done well, and it's so annoying.
I will get to a film that I watched that had a similar type situation where it expositioned, overexposed. Yeah. I don't know if that's, but yeah. Anyway.
So yeah, other than that narration really bugging me and the concept of Gretel herself being someone with witch powers, there's not really a whole lot to say other than it's just kind of, again, by the numbers, pretty bland. To me, this explains why I didn't really hear anything about it.
Came and went.
And some visuals are pretty neat. And then others are like, whoa, that is some not very good CG right there.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
I was really hoping this movie was going to be more of things on par with like The Witch or
No, The Witch is leagues ahead of this.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's still fine to watch if you're like, I want to watch something new about witches, which is what I did. But honestly, unless you really want to take a look at what the concept of Gretel being a witch is like, then, there's really no reason. And then the last thing I watched. So, when we first decided that we were going to do the theme that we eventually discarded.
Sorry, I'm holding in a sneeze. It's
I
really
figured
fighting
that's
me.
what it was.
Yeah, no, I wasn't really. I mean, I'm in anticipation. I can't wait. I feel like I already know what the movie is, but there we go. I think it's gone. Oh nope, it's back. Oh. Shit, fuck you. In the podcast, really?
You can just cut it out.
Maybe. I mean, if I remember.
Sure. Yeah.
Go ahead.
When we first decided on the theme that we then eventually abandoned, my goal was to watch all 4 movies of this series. And I couldn't. I watched one, and I was like, I gotta watch something else.
What was the movie, Zach?
The movie was a perennial favorite. Which I would think, while I didn't necessarily expect it to hold up to like what I had in my mind beforehand, I thought it would be, fairly decent for what it was. And that's Halloween Town.
Okay. I was wrong. I thought you were going to go full-blown Hocus Pocus with this.
No. There are not 4 movies.
I know. Before you said 4 movies, I thought you were going to watch Hocus Pocus for sure.
Yeah, my original plan was to watch all 4 Halloween Town movies and then come back with a report.
Yeah.
And I watched the first one and I was like, you know what?
It's enough.
I'm all right.
Well,
and this kills me to say because I loved Halloween Town growing up. It was such a mainstay of the Disney Channel around Halloween time.
Yeah.
It was great to throw on, or at least I remembered it was. And especially if you had just gotten back from trick-or-treating, you'd be unwrapping all your candy and you have Halloween Town and Double Trouble in the background or whatever. No. This movie, nothing happens in this movie. And it has some of the weirdest camera shot composition I have seen to date.
It's the early 90s, man.
Some of the opening scenes, not only are they picture a scene where it's a close-up face
An
shot.
Extreme
All you
close-up.
can see is just the bottom of my forehead to maybe right above my chin. And then super in there. That's a repeated shot in the beginning of this movie.
Your entire TV is your face.
It's tilted at an acute angle.
Dutch
It's
angles.
what the fuck? What's going on here? For a Disney Channel original movie to employ this sort of camera work.
Let's see who directed it. I gotta find out who directed Halloween. At least the first one.
If you're unaware, if you're a baby child yourself, and you've never watched Halloween Town, the concept is a young girl and her siblings are forbidden by her mother to have anything to do with Halloween. They cannot go trick-or-treating. They can't watch scary movies. They are closeted Halloween lovers. Forced closeted Halloween lovers. Kind of, again, a weird way to phrase it, but we'll go on.
Zach, you're on fire today. I love it.
Then Grandma comes to visit, and she's a witch. And she wants to tell Marnie, the young daughter, or the older daughter, that she is also a witch. And then some hijinks ensue, and they go to Halloween Town, and I don't want to get bogged down in the plot of Halloween Town because there is no plot.
Yeah, it's a DCOM, man. It's a Disney Channel original movie. There's nothing's going to happen.
they walk around Halloween Town for like an hour, and the movie's like 80 minutes. They walk around Halloween Town for an hour, and there's one warlock who's trying to take over Halloween Town.
Just a town.
In an abandoned theater, with dated CG. And that's about it.
Okay. All right. I feel like maybe it was probably expanded upon in the sequels that you didn't watch, Zach, and now I'm disappointed.
Oh, you mean Calabar's Revenge?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess Calabar is the villain of the first film?
Yes.
I don't want to date myself because I also grew up with these movies, but I remember very little about them, and I feel like my brain knew what it was doing when it decided to purge those films.
That?
Yeah, from my brain, so...
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a very active movie. It's very boring.
So tell me this:
nothing happens.
would you rather watch? I almost said Black Sabbath. That's the other movie. Black Sunday. Would you rather watch that on Tubi again, or watch all 4 of the Halloween movies, Halloween Town movies, back to back?
I will say I would rather watch all 4 Halloween Town movies.
Okay.
For nothing else, at least I don't have to watch something on Tubi again. Fuck, man, that was such a long process.
Yeah.
For an hour and a half movie. How did we get anything done when we had to watch TV movies?
We didn't. We didn't.
We were like, what'd you do that weekend? Oh, I watched a movie.
I watched one movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So, 2 middling movies, one that had nice shot composition, and then shattered childhood memories are what I had for this episode.
You know what's
That's
sad?
Me.
Yeah, You know what's sad is the first movie I'm gonna talk about is actually a witch movie. Before I moved on to a totally different, not genre, but subject matter when it comes to horror movies. So I watched one witch movie, and then I watched some vampire movies. But the one witch movie that I watched, I actually have better feelings about, like, comparing it to how you reviewed those 3 films. Like, I came out of it like, that was all right. And I walked away from it. I'm like, I'm not going to remember it in a week, but,
Always a sign of a good experience.
Well, so it's not... The movie that I watched was called The Wretched, and it was a film that came out, let's see, I want to say just a few years ago. You're not going to recognize anybody in the movie. Let's see. No, it actually came out in May this year. It was the highest grossing film of 2020 for 5 weeks because no one was seeing...
Wow.
Because it was in the movie theaters, I should say. It was making the most money in movie theaters because no one was going to see movies, and it was like the only new movie. So it has a budget of $66,000, and I don't see the box office thing here, but yeah, I don't recognize anybody except for maybe the neighbor. But basically, it tells the story of a defiant teenage baby boy who moves in with his dad after his parents are kind of going through a rough patch. His dad works at this marina area where he takes care of the boats and stuff. The kid has a broken arm, and he's like, I don't like my dad. We're kind of like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about how my arm is broken. There's some mysterious things about my past, but I'm a normal kid. So he decides to work with his dad at the marina. And then he catches like his dad making out with a lady. He's dating someone else while still married to his mom. There's a lot of family issues there. But then he starts to notice there's something off about his neighbor because his neighbor went on like a weird like walking trip / camping trip / walkabout, I guess, with her son. And they discover like there's a tree in the woods with like an upside down letter A that they never explain.
I thought you were just going to stop. There's a tree in the woods. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's generally...
No, hold on. There's something off about this tree because it disappears whenever the boy turns around and sees that it's not there. Very Blair Witchy.
Yeah, it's like a weeping angel tree.
Sure, Zach, you weird tree expert. So then they come back, and then they discover that this deer that they accidentally ran over while driving to the forest in the first place, the mom decides to gut it because she's like, we can cook it for dinner, you know? This is Martha's Vineyard, where everybody loves to gut deers in their driveway.
I mean, yeah, it's on the pamphlet.
Fucking... Anyway, it turns out the guts are all rotten and stuff, and there was a witch hiding inside of the tree next to the deer that they ran over, and the witch is a tree witch, not like a normal witch with the black hat and the broom. It's a tree witch that infects you and takes over your body, like literally takes out your whole body and puts their skin over theirs and stuff.
Oh gosh,
yeah,
like Body Snatcher.
yeah. And then eventually the mom witch decides to make people forget certain people, and the people who are forgotten she ends up eating. So there's like some kids that she ends up snatching. She does the same thing with her husband. She's got
to be eating kids all the time.
I don't know. They really love kids, don't they?
They really do.
They're better parents than a lot of conservatives out there. Hey-o! I got them. Chucking them across the aisle. Anyway, there's some really good special effects, like makeup effects in this movie. There's one moment where the witch mom grabs the boy by the face. The boy is the main protagonist, by the way. I hate it. Yeah. Because he's really just complains about everything throughout the whole movie. Grabs the boy by the face, but then the actual witch's hand pops out from the elbow of the body and also tries to grab him and scratch him and stuff. And I'm like, there's some cool gory viscera here.
That sounds pretty neat there.
But there's a romance with a chick at the pier with the boy, and there's another secret witch. There's a twist there.
Another secret witch.
This is another tree witch, man. There's another tree witch. Unless I'm confusing it, and it's the same tree witch from before, and she just leaves the skin suit of the neighbor wife.
Don't say skin suit.
Sorry. Puts the lotion on his skin. It's not bad. It's an hour and a half of there's not a lot of surprise spooky moments, but it's not nearly as middling as some of the films you watched, I guess. Halloween Town, Black Sunday. And then What's up?
Sorry, real quick. I just remembered, the best part about Halloween Town is when you get to Halloween Town and you'd see the denizens of Halloween Town. It's very clearly all of the extras costumes on other movie projects that they're just I don't know, what are we going to do with this? Put it on someone. There's a guy it's just a random guy who's walking around in a Union general uniform.
Yeah.
He's got no mask. He's not a monster. He's just a Union general who's just there.
He was probably a zombie and just
very clearly when they're on the bus to go to Halloween Town, there's a not gremlin looking stripe motherfucker, but they call him a goblin or some shit
or a critter. I mean, you can't take critter either.
Yeah, but it's very clearly Stripe from Gremlins. It's just fuck it, throw them all in there.
Hey, Disney, they have all those backlots of costumes and special makeup effects.
It is the telltale sign of a budget DCOM movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it spawned 3 sequels, so...
DCOM movie. Disney Channel original movie.
Yes. I recommend The Wretched if you're in for something that you haven't heard anything about. It's not horribly acted. It's got kind of a little bit of a slow burn at the beginning. It takes a second for it to get to the spooks, or the scares, I should say. But cool visual effects. It's not. Nice. I'd say a 6 or 7 out of 10 if I had to rate it.
Check it out.
You can actually watch it on Hulu. It's on Hulu.
Oh, okay, cool.
Another movie I watched is The Conjuring 1.
Nice.
Just cause. Good one. I knew I needed to have a good film.
Casey and I watch that regularly.
Yeah.
And for sure around Halloween time.
Directed by James Wan, who did Aquaman, Fast and Furious 7. What? Hold on. And horror movies like Death Sentence, Dead Silence, Saw.
No. I think you should have just kept it.
Aquaman and Fast and Furious 7. You know, those films that scare the shit out of you. And, you know, anyway.
From the horror master behind Fast and the Furious.
Anywho, if you haven't already seen The Conjuring, I'm not talking about I'm not talking about The Conjuring 2. I'm not talking about Annabelle. I'm not talking about any of the other ones. Conjuring 1. It's great.
Conjuring 2 is pretty good too.
It's all right.
Not as good as the first one, but yeah, Conjuring 1 is like A+.
I was going to say because it stands more on its own. You don't necessarily need to have watched a previous one. I usually say that even with trilogies. Like the first one's always going to have that advantage over the others. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you haven't watched it already, definitely give it a watch. It's pretty easy to find. And then actually, I'll save it for last. I also watched The Haunting of Bly Manor. I've only watched the first 2 episodes. And from what I've heard, it is a very slow burn. It's not as scary as Haunting of Hill House. But at the same time, I've already been spooked a few times in the first 2 episodes. And I like it. It's directed by Mike Flanagan, who did... Same from the... Season 1.
Hill House. Yeah.
Hill House, Dr. Sleep. He did, 1922, I believe? He's done a lot of Stephen King films as of late. He's the new Frank Darabont. He's the new
King guy.
So, if you're looking for a good spooky, slow burn, like haunting type of show, it's going to be on the top 10 trending page of Netflix for the next week or so, especially during October.
Oh, yeah.
And then finally, Zach, do you remember last year when I told you that I watched all of the Resident Evil films?
I do.
And then I recapped the entire series.
Yep, I remember that. That was the thing that happened.
Zach, I want to tell you that I did it again.
No, what's wrong with you?
I even took your initiative from what you were going to do this week with Halloween Town. Yes. And I have outmanned you. I have defeated you because not only did I persevere through an entire film series, I think that's it. I didn't have an end to that. I beat you.
I still call that a personal victory for me because I didn't have to watch the Resident Evil movies.
Well, I mean, you win some, you lose some. Guess what?
No, you lost all.
I lost 2 years in a row. No, so I watched the Underworld film series.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying you rewatched the Resident.
Oh no! Why would I do that? Again. I'm not a one-trick pony. I'm not going to do the same thing over and over again.
Okay, this is the one that I thought you had watched when you were going to tell me that you watched all the Resident Evil movies.
Ah, okay. No, actually, I watched all of the Underworld movies starring Kate Beckinsale. The first 2 films directed by Len Wiseman, her future husband, because she was.
I know.
Yeah, because she was. With Michael Sheen at the time, and then after the first film, married Len Wiseman. Anyway, first film, 2003, Underworld. Kate Beckinsale plays Celine. She's a death dealer, which is like an assassin for the vampires. And over many, many centuries, vampires have been fighting with lycans, which are human/werewolf hybrids. Both vampires and lycans are descendants of Alexander Corvinus, who was just really gifted with having really cool blood, and his 2 sons, Marcus and...
Aurelius.
No, not Marcus Aurelius. It's not, every single time there's a Marcus, it's not Marcus Aurelius. It's not always Gladiator. Damn it.
It should be.
His 2 sons, Marcus and William. William was bitten by a wolf. How he survived, I don't know. Marcus was bitten by a bat. And so they both became the progenitors of vampires and werewolves. William has a whole bunch of werewolves, and then for some reason one werewolf marries another werewolf, and they have a baby with a human, and they create the first lycan, which is Lucian, played by Michael Sheen. This is like in 1200 AD, and then the lycans end up becoming slaves to the vampires. This is Underworld: Rise of the Lycans, 2009. I'm gonna.
Thought we were still on the first one.
No, we're not still on the first one. Sorry, I had to go back because this is a prequel, like 600 years in the past. Yes. So, Lucian, played by Michael Sheen, like I said, decides to start a revolt because the Lycans have been slaves to the vampires for centuries. And he's like, fuck that. I don't want to be a slave. I want to be free. I'm Michael Sheen. He says that a lot. I'm Michael Sheen.
He just says that in his day-to-day life.
Yeah. So they successfully revolt to a degree. But at the cost of his wife, who is a very... Well, you'll... Most of them
are successful. To a degree.
To a degree, you know, a lot of them die.
You win some, you lose some.
Lucien, played by Michael Sheen, was also lovers to Victor, a very high vampire. High
as a kite?
No. He's a very powerful... No, he's just a very powerful vampire played by Bill Nighy, best known for playing Shaun of the Dead, Simon Pegg's father in Simon of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead. Whatever.
He was also in About Time.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
And also fucking that other Christmas movie that we said wasn't a Christmas movie. That was terrible.
Oh, not The Holiday. Fuck, what is it? It's the one...
It's
Love Actually.
Love Actually. He's also in Love Actually. He's the singer. You know, he's the guy that does all the sex songs, and he's really gay.
He cheats on his wife.
Yeah. No, he doesn't cheat on his wife. That's Alan Rickman.
That's Alan Rickman. Yeah.
Fuck.
Why
Anyway,
are we talking about this?
Bill Nighy plays Victor. He's a very powerful elder. There's 3 elders: Victor, Amelia, and Marcus. Remember Marcus? Yeah, he's one of the progenitors. Anyway, Victor has a daughter who is has a name I can't remember. But
daughter.
The daughter, the vampire daughter, is in love with Michael, but then they get found out during the uprising, and she gets caught and dies, and Lucien escapes, but also defeats Victor, and Victor has to escape, and then 600 years pass, and in between, Celine gets turned into a vampire and is told that her family was killed by Lycans. Now, Underworld, 2003, we're back here. Underworld 2003, she is basically trying to defeat Lycans. Lycans are evil. They're the bad guys in this movie. They're led by Lucien. Hey, remember him? Played by Michael Sheen in Rise of the Lycans, 2009. I'm already unraveling, Zach. I'm sorry. It's really hot in my apartment.
As per usual.
Yeah. So she later finds out, it's back and forth. For some reason, the Lycans are following this guy, Scott Speedman, for some reason. He's in The Strangers. And
Speedman or Speedman?
Speedman. Yeah, Scott Speedman.
Man with speed.
Yeah. They're hunting him for some reason, and it turns out it's because he's the last descendant of Alexander Corvinus, and he has very special blood that neutralizes the effects of vampirism and Lycanism or werewolfism. So the Lycans are trying to take him, and Celine's like, oh, but he's super hot, and I'm super horny, and I'm a vampire. So I need to save him. So she saves him, and then she finds out through Victor, or not through Victor, through another guy that I think I've completely unraveled. She finds out that her parents were actually murdered by Victor, so she kills Victor, and her and Michael escape while Lucien also gets killed by Victor. No, he gets killed by a totally random guy, Craven, who is the leader of the Coven since Victor was put to sleep. Victor was put to sleep with Amelia and Marcus, but then he gets let out because Celine needed answers, and she was turned by him. It's a whole thing. She's like, oh, father, because she didn't really have a father because they were killed when she was little. Anyway, oh, why'd you betray me? You actually were the ones who killed me, so I need to escape with Michael, and then we're going to have sex in a barn. We're in Underworld Evolution, Underworld 2, 2006. They're having sex in a barn. They're escaping Marcus, who also got let out because a German scientist who was working with Lucien gets killed by Victor, and his blood gets absorbed into the coffin underground, and so Marcus escapes. Victor's dead, one elder down. Marcus escapes. He's the progenitor vampire, all right? He's the first vampire. He goes after Celine and Michael because Michael is now a hybrid. He's part vampire, part werewolf because Celine had to help Michael live so that, they want to bang each other. So they bang each other in a barn, and then they get chased by Marcus. And they continue to get chased by Marcus. They continue to find out the truth about vampires and Lycans and how they need to stop this war. not really a lot happens, but Underworld Evolution is actually probably the second best out of the whole series after the first one, because there's character development and it's actually well shot and acted. But they end up defeating both. They both kill William, the original werewolf, and Marcus, the original vampire, Michael and Celine at the end of it. They throw Marcus into a helicopter blade and he explodes. It's great and gory. And Michael rips off William's head just entirely. Or not, he like de-jaws him, kind of like King Kong and the T-Rex in King Kong, the 2006 film. Same year. That happens twice in 2 different movies. Anyway, now on to Underworld Awakening, where... No, come back, Zach. We're on to Underworld Awakening. Hold on. Come back, man. Underworld Awakening takes place a few years later, where Michael and Celine have been traveling cross-country, and now the humans have discovered that vampires and lichens exist, so they're hunting them down and purging them. They're killing them by the millions. There's not a lot of them left, so what they're going to do is they're going to escape by boat to somewhere, but then they get caught by the humans, and they try to jump into the water to swim away, but then they throw like a weird ice grenade into the water, and they blows Celine and Michael away from each other, and Celine wakes up 12 years later in a cryogenic little box, and she's like, "Wow, what happened?" And like she escapes this place called Antigen, which is like a human facility where they're studying them to try to figure out a cure for vampirism and werewolves. She finds out that it's actually run by lichens themselves, who are trying to use her abilities to become more powerful lichens. Also, she finds out she has a daughter named Eve, who is artificially inseminated with Michael's like semen, I guess, from his body, because she finds his body at the end of it and shoots his cryogenic box to help him escape, but then has to run away to save Eve from being harvested by the lichen scientists. She ends up saving her, but by the end of the movie, when the credits are about to start, she's like, "I don't want to see you anymore." And now Underworld Blood Wars, the final film, okay? It's like 5 years later.
Oh,
Underworld, yeah. Hey, you missed the 4th film. It's okay. Underworld, Blood Wars. 5 years later, she's trying to run away from both vampires and lichens. However, and they're only trying to track her down to find out her daughter's blood, who is like the ultimate hybrid of Michael the Hybrid and Celine, who has extra special Alexander Corvinus blood. Alexander Corvinus, by the way, was an Underworld Evolution 2. But he gets killed by Marcus, his son. She has special, like, ultimate elder blood, Celine does. And Eve, her daughter, has, like, special super hybrid blood. But she's like, "I don't want to see you anymore." And so Celine doesn't know where her daughter is. And the only way they can find her is by sucking Celine's blood. Because if you suck a vampire's blood, you get their memories. That's a very important part of this, by the way. That was in all of the movies. And also in every single movie, there's always a slow-mo shot of her throwing discs that, like, either explode or get stabbed into people. Like in every single one of them, there's always a slow-mo shot of like disc shuriken throwing. It's great. So she gets hunted down by Edmure Tully from Game of Thrones. He turns out to be a lichen who has been draining Michael behind the scenes. Scott Speedman, who didn't want to show up in Underworld 4 or 5, gets killed off screen. And they're like, "Oh shit." And the little girl who wanted to who played Eve, the daughter, didn't want to show up for number 5, so she disappears off screen, and they never find her. Anyway, Kate Beckinsale turns out to get killed by Edmure Tully, put in some ice, wrapped up in some bandages, and goes to an alternate plane of existence where she gets ghost powers. And then she kills all of the or most of the lichens and tells them to just fuck off. This war is stupid and I'm done with it. And she becomes a new elder with, what's his name? He was in The Maze Runner. He's one of the hot guys. Theo James. No, Divergent. He was in the Divergent movies. Sorry. Theo James.
Easy mistake.
Turns out to be the son of Amelia, one of the original elders. And he has special power blood. So he becomes a new elder. And they both lead a new vampire coven to basically make the whole series full circle. And there's a planned 6th one. Was it worth it? So we actually had to delay the recording of this podcast, and Zach, we delayed it for another 40 minutes because I kept falling asleep at the end of Blood Wars.
I can't imagine.
It's not because it's boring. It's because I had to watch like 3 of these movies back to back.
You didn't have to do anything.
My own fault.
No.
Yes, I did. I did. I committed to it.
You could have tapped out at 1. I did with Halloween Town.
This
is your fault.
It's
You're
so
your
sweaty
own worst
in here.
enemy.
No, so I watched all 5 of the Underworld movies, and I have to say, 1, great. Of the time, 2003, it came out. It's very Matrix inspired. All of these movies are blue.
Yes, they're very blue.
All of these movies are blue. So if you hated the Matrix being all green tinted, if you hated the Hellboy movies being all red tinted, yeah, all of them. If you look back at all the Hellboy movies, they're all slightly red or orange tinted or yellow. It's weird. Then you'll hate Underworld for being blue. All of them are blue, no matter what time period, no matter what time of day. Even the daylight scenes are blue for some reason. The sun is blue. Everything is blue. First one, a classic. Second one, pretty good follow-up. Third one, the prequel, it's led by Michael Sheen. He's all right. It's okay. There's some pretty cool, gory scenes in there. Fourth one, sucks ass. Underworld Awakening is the Resident Evil 4 through 7 of these movies. It's really the shit like, hey, we should make this 3D. Hey, we should make this as shitty as possible. Yeah. And then Underworld Blood Wars, which actually came out January 2017. So 2003, 2006, 2009, 2012, and then 2016's everywhere except for the United States, and then 2017 for the United States. So they have huge gaps in between when these movies come out, and it's painful to see the trajectory of that franchise when it doesn't make as much money as, say, its Resident Evil counterpart, ironically, or some other horror franchises,
Well, even the first one was pretty cult hit like, wasn't it? I don't remember it being a huge box office success.
So, I mean, you kind of have to be in the mood for it. But I have to say, once you get to Awakening and Blood Wars, you kind of have just kind of checked out when it comes to the story of the universe. Imagine. There's a lot of, like, logic
You're
skipping.
Not there for substance, you're there for style.
Charles Dance shows up in Awakening. I forgot. Charles Dance is Theo James's father in this series, and he's awesome in Awakening, but probably one of the better parts, and then gets axed off by a villain in Blood Wars.
They can't afford him.
Charles Dance? They did for a movie and a half.
Yeah, that was the budget for a movie and a half.
And they had Bill Nighy for 2 of the movies. They can afford it. It's Screen Gems. It's Sony. They're fine. Do I recommend them? 1 and 2. You can watch 1 and 2 and you'll be fine.
I think I tapped out. I remember I really liked 1. I haven't seen it in ages, though. I seem to remember being okay with 2, and I can't remember if that's where I tapped out or if I watched Rise of the Lycans is 3 or 2.
It is 3. It's technically a prequel to all of them,
though.
but yeah.
I can't remember if I watched that one and was like, I'm out, or if I was just, I'm out at number 2. So,
well, I mean, they started using more and more CG with the series, and so like Underworld 1 and 2 has a lot of the practical bodysuits of the Lycans.
Yeah, that was a big thing with 1, is that almost all of it was practical.
Yeah,
when it came to the monsters and stuff.
I mean, the transformation scenes are very Werewolf in London. American Werewolf in London effects, to where it's kind of like the stretching out of the fingers and the hair and stuff. Very gory franchise for obvious reasons. But yeah, they're fun. I had a lot more fun watching this series as a whole compared to the Resident Evil films.
Well, there's
2 films less. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Resident Evil has 7 films, I believe, or 6.
Too many.
Too many. And with the reboot on the way, it's like, ugh. And the TV series.
Yeah.
TV being Netflix.
TV series and other CG movie.
Yeah, CG Netflix. Movie, Netflix TV series, and a reboot movie.
Yeah.
And a Monster Hunter movie. Capcom, man, they're fucking killing it. Anyway.
Are they?
I mean, they're making a lot more money than they did 10 years ago.
Well, they're certainly putting their properties out there.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Depends on how many movies are going to be directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. Yeah. So that's what I watched. Zach, let's dive into the news.
Okay. So I'm going to give you 3 options here, Nick.
Uh-oh.
Do you want to start with sad, kind of normal to good, or weird? Sad, normal to good, or weird?
Let's do sad first.
Okay. There's a lot of sad.
Oh, there's a lot of sad. Well, you didn't say that.
It's like half the docket.
Oh, shit.
All right, first
why can't you just, like, sprinkle it in? Can you sprinkle it in?
No. Because almost all of the sad stuff is connected.
Oh, shit. All right, well, fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. So first up, we got a lot of delays.
Zach Smith, the delay king.
Yeah,
it's your fault.
Is me. First is Dune, Denis Villeneuve. It has been delayed from December 18th of this year to October 1st of 2021. So almost a full year delay.
Yeah. Well, there's, and you'll probably say it immediately after I say it, but there's a major reason why it's a full year as opposed to sooner. And that's to tie it into their whole catalog. They're trying to restructure the whole thing because I think it was going to be aligned with the Batman, and they delayed the Batman even longer.
So the Batman was after. I believe this is in response. Dune's delay is a response to Wonder Woman's delay.
Right.
The Batman's delay, which has now again been delayed after all of its struggles, has been delayed from that October 1st, 2021 date to March 4th of 2022. Now, on the flip side of that, The Matrix 4 was moved up to December 22nd of 2021.
Okay.
So,
can't wait to do my Matrix in review. Including the Animatrix. I will include it.
Well, yeah, obviously.
It's a part of it.
It's like one of the best parts of the Matrix. I'm not kidding.
I disagree.
All right, well, we are two different people. So.
I will fight you. Yeah, you're the one who left. You left the podcast.
I was over
there. Yeah, the audio listeners could tell. Anyway.
So yeah, you have those 2 delays plus the Matrix moving up. Jurassic World Dominion has also been delayed to June 10th of 2022. So that's longer for waiting on that bad ending, I'm assuming, to the bads.
Yeah, I'm kind of, hey, we're going to include even more of the original cast. Aren't you excited about that? Take a look at this picture of older Jeff Goldblum doing the same pose as his original.
Hey. That, I was all right with that. I was like...
I'm sure you were.
He looks fucking good, man.
I'm telling Casey.
That's fine. She'll probably think the same thing, too.
What world am I living in?
And then No Time to Die has also been delayed to April 2nd, 2021, which is like a full year from its last one. And then because that was being moved to the same weekend as the weekend that Fast 9 had been moved to, Fast 9 has once again been pushed to May 28th, 2021.
That's not as big of a delay. That's only
it's
1 month.
No, comparatively to the other ones, no, that's not that bad.
Well, and I think it's because they don't expect as much of a return from Fast 9 that they do from, say, James Bond. It, like, worldwide.
Right.
Okay. And we can safely say that this is, again, because of coronavirus and our lack of response to it.
Oh, yeah, something... so I didn't mention it with the Jurassic World delay, but like a day after they announced that delay, like a bunch of crew members tested positive for COVID. But then it was weird. They tested positive first, then supposedly they did the second test, and it came back negative. But for like preemptive reasons or out of caution, they sent everyone home. I don't know how to tell you that.
2 weeks is a long time when it comes to a production schedule, but when it comes to the safety of everyone involved, it's way more important. Like, both for the studio and just for straight up legal reasons. Like, seriously?
Yeah, don't die.
Yeah, don't die, folks.
Let's see. That's probably the last. Monster Hunter, the movie we were just talking about from Capcom, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson.
Oh, no, I forgot.
The maestro.
Oh, man.
Has been moved up, not delayed.
Oh, no.
So we're getting that sooner. It has been moved up to December 30th of this year.
Ooh. Yeah, they're dumping it. It's so weird how backwards the world has become now, to where pushing up a movie is not because the studio has faith, but because they don't actually expect it to make as much money.
And they have nothing on their
slate. And they have nothing. Yeah. So they need to make some money to show for quarter one. Or not quarter one, for quarter 4 of 2020.
Yeah.
But Sony Sony is also releasing a game console, and I know it's a different branch of the company, but they're expected to sell millions and millions and millions for this console. So you would think that they would feel a little bit more comfortable with their film branch. But I could be wrong. It could be two totally different octopus legs.
Considering that Sony is releasing an all-digital version of their console, then you never have to leave the house, and you don't have to leave the house to get a game off of Amazon or whatever, you know? Whereas with movies, you have, if you're going to release it theatrically, you have to go to a theater. And segueing from that to our next story, Regal's movie chain, Regal Cinemas, the second largest theater chain in the U.S., has now closed all locations indefinitely.
Closed meaning that they are not operating.
They are closed. They are not operating.
Yeah.
They haven't been... I assume what you're getting at is they haven't folded or anything. Like Regal itself has not like filed for bankruptcy or anything and shut down all of its operations. They are just closing the actual physical building indefinitely, but still that furloughs a shit ton of people.
Literal thousands.
Yeah, and they are the second largest movie theater chain in the U.S. And this decision also affects some theaters in the UK as well.
Their Cineworld branch?
Cineworld subsidiary, yes.
Yeah.
Now, AMC, which is the first largest theater chain, has not said they're doing anything similar. It seems like they're still kind of thrashing against the waves, as it were. But yeah, that's very, very unfortunate news for all those affected. And
hopefully they're able to find alternative work.
Yeah, it's just kind of continuation of, the theater business possibly being very different by the time this is all over.
Yeah.
If it's, even
still around.
Yeah, even a minuscule amount of similar to the way it was before. I don't think it's going to be the same when it hopefully comes back.
Well, I'm truly sad. Zach, you were not incorrect.
I told you, and I gave you the option. You stepped on this grenade, my friend.
I stepped on many grenades this week, apparently.
But we'll segue from that into the normal to good news. First being that Disney is electing to drop the upcoming Soul film on Disney Plus, and it will be premiering on December 25th of 2020, Christmas Day.
That's Christmas for all you atheists.
Or non-practicing.
Or non. All right, sure. Yeah. All right. Whatever. Yeah, I actually think that's really smart. And one little bonus part is that it's not another $30 for it.
Yes, so they're not doing the same rollout that they did with Mulan, where you have to pay $30 on top of your monthly subscription service. I still think it's a little weird that they're not doing just standard VOD.
Right.
They're really fighting that. It's either you're going to pay a premium on top of your subscription to Disney Plus, or it's just going Disney Plus. There's no
middle ground, which in this case is VOD. Yeah, you would think that they would even earn more money that way.
By going VOD?
By going VOD rental and like renting it. Oh, I want to watch it, a week later.
Absolutely they do.
All right, there's another $20. Yeah.
Even if you just consider the idea that there are plenty of families out there who do not have Disney Plus because they just buy all the Disney movies anyway.
It's this guy.
It's funny because you're pointing over there, but on my screen I'm on the left, so it just looks like you're pointing off screen.
Well, you're on the left on my screen too, so that's why I'm saying it's whatever. It's a visual gag for the visual followers. Thanks for watching the video. Yeah. Sorry, audio listeners.
Yeah, I don't understand this avoidance from just traditional VOD route. Like drop it for $20. I guarantee you, people are gonna pay for that shit. Guaranteed.
Yeah. We saw it with Trolls World Tour. Yeah, we've talked about this a million times. It's just trying to find that comfortable middle ground.
That's without the Disney label. Like Disney always gets a bump regardless of whether or not they're laying off 28,000 park employees or not.
Yeah.
They're just all like people are always going to be interested in whatever they're putting out. So I would imagine that you would want to access that as best as you can. But I don't know. I'm not making hundreds of thousands of dollars, in their marketing or whatever team. So what do I know?
You're not the one with the three mansions across the Western Seaboard. I don't know.
That is correct.
I don't even know what that means.
I just want one mansion if I'm going to have a mansion.
Yeah.
I don't even need three. Throw a mansion my way, Disney.
Come on, Disney. Come on.
Come on.
Come on. We're a movie podcast.
Yeah, you want to sponsor us, Disney, by giving us a mansion and then we can record in?
Absolutely. I would even take the hit on all of the production issues that would require filming. Like, you can film on one side of the mansion. I'll film on the other side of the mansion.
Absolutely.
Or by the pool or whatever.
Yeah, our overhead would be astronomical, but it would be worth it.
It would absolutely be worth it. So, wink, wink. Walt.
It's the ball's in your court, Disney. Moving on. Borat 2 has officially been confirmed for a release date of October 23rd through Amazon Prime.
And that is very politically motivated, that release date.
Yes, they specifically stated that they were doing it on purpose right around the election day to reach younger voters.
So there's a lot packed into the existence of Borat 2, Zach.
There is, isn't there?
We don't have to go into just the straight up, politics behind why they made it in the first place, but how do you think the existence of this film to begin with, what is the point of this film existing besides comedy? Besides showing the people
that might not even be the case.
Well, I mean, I am a big fan of the original Borat. I think a lot of people are.
I haven't watched it in a long time, but I did like it. Yeah. I don't know how well it would hold up by today's standards.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying is the people who are going to go watch this movie are the people who already have decided who they're probably going to vote for. Undecided voters are probably not going to go watch this after having seen specifically after having seen the trailer and go, all right, my mind's decided now.
You got me. Yes.
Thanks, Sacha Baron Cohen. But I think it's weird. It really feels like this is only going to, along with his This Is America series, is really only to stoke flames and not necessarily to start any actual conversations.
I mean, at this rate, it's just kind of a non sequitur, right? Like, if I don't imagine that this will have necessarily any bump or effect on voting, but I guess if this is your way of trying to get people out there, that's certainly. I mean, it's Cohen's onus, like if this is how he feels he wants to approach it, that's on him. But yeah, I think we were probably in the same camp in that I don't necessarily see how this is really going to do anything or if it's helpful even. There's some things that I think you can make the argument that 2005 was a weird time. Is that when Borat was released? That was
2004, 2005. Yeah.
2004, 2005. It was a different time. As recent as that was, the difference between social political commentary now and then is vastly different. And the original was meant to be a takedown of the Bush administration. But with that came some characterizations that were, by today's standards, maybe not as acceptable.
This is only, I only see the result of this movie being I don't think conservatives are going to care about this at all. I think the only people who are going to care are going to be the people who are either not super politically motivated or the people who are and are trying to find a reason to be either upset or find an underlying message in it. And there may not be. It is, I guarantee you, it's like 95% satire, 5% look at the shit world that we're living in right now. Much like the original Borat. Much like Bruno or any of his other characters. But with all that being said, I definitely think that this is only going to hurt people who would normally be a fan of the movie otherwise. Just because, like you said, the first film came out in a time where there was no YouTube, or YouTube was just starting, or no Twitter, no Instagram. Social media was basically just starting. And so it's like we've
kind of on the back end of the whole Jackass era sort of thing.
So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how people react to it. I think people have already garnered their opinion about the movie already, considering the trailer, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, so, that's all you can do, really. And it's a couple weeks, so
we'll definitely see it. Does that come out before the next podcast? What day does it come out?
23rd.
It does, the day before.
Day before, yes.
So we will review it.
Moving on. Cobra Kai Season 3 has been officially announced for January 8th, 2021.
It's so soon.
So not too far around the corner, yep.
They had to have already had filmed a little bit of it.
I think they did when Netflix acquired it.
Okay.
That being said, I don't think the shoots are particularly intensive. I mean, they had to have been in post for a while now, I would think.
I was going to say intensive, but it's karate, so people are touching each other.
Sure, yeah.
So.
And then along with this release date announcement, it was also confirmed that Netflix will be doing a Season 4 as well.
Yes. It's a good show.
It was taught on number 1 of their TV selections, like last week or something.
Yeah.
It's doing well on Netflix.
We reviewed it on the podcast. If you want to, you can head back to, I want to say it was like 3 episodes ago, when I watched like all of Season 1 and all of Season 2.
I think it might have been 2.
Oh, okay. Episodes. Well, call me a fucking liar then.
You're a fucking liar.
Oh, what a great birthday present. Thank you.
Could someone isolate the audio, whatever the fuck noise Nick just made? Isolate that audio.
Oh, no. Oh.
That was, I think I might have discovered a kink there, sir.
No. Don't read into that. Fuck off. Go. Oh, yeah. Call me a liar. Step on my nuts. Do it.
Oh god.
Move on to the next news story.
Moving on.
Please.
There is some news on the Spider-Man 3 Tom Holland. Sorry.
I'm glad you picked up on this. Yeah.
Talking about this news, just real quick, talking about this news, making the news docket with this news in it is super fucking hard because every story that's reporting on these things that I'm about to talk about says Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
There was already a Spider-Man 3.
And it's a classic.
Obviously, contextualizing, I know which movie you're talking about. Maybe we should just come up with a better name for it, though.
Yeah, Spider-Man Home 3. Because it's going to have home in the title. They already confirmed that.
Yeah, they did confirm that. But anyways, the third Tom Holland Spider-Man movie coming up has announced some news. First being that Jamie Foxx will be reprising his role as Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, at this point, technically,
yeah,
it's not confirmed. Like, nobody has confirmed it. Except for Jamie Foxx,
who
has since deleted any tweets or Instagram posts in which he has confirmed that he is coming back. He said he will be less blue.
Dabba dee dabba die.
Blue dabba dee dabba die.
This is like Jared Leto with Tron 3 all over again, where you're like, dude,
yes.
what the fuck? You just got out of the meeting with Disney, and you're like, come on, guys! I'm in Morbius. I was in Blade Runner 2049. Put me in your Tron movie.
On both those instances, I think the problem is it's anonymous sources telling press junkets, Hollywood Reporter, Variety, whatever.
No, but it was his tweets, though.
Yeah, I know, but they're responding based off those news breaks.
Oh,
so they see those headlines and they're like, "Oh shit, I can talk about this now." So they go to tweet, and then their agent reaches out to them, and they're like, "You can't fucking say that yet." So they got to go back and delete it.
Some celebrities shouldn't have a phone. Just saying, or not a smartphone.
But being as that I never saw Amazing Spider-Man 2, I am still pretty psyched to have Jamie Foxx on board for this. Why?
So you haven't seen the scene where he becomes Electro, and the huge gap in his teeth gets like his two front teeth get pushed together by electricity.
I probably have, but I don't remember. I haven't actively seen the movie, but I know Jamie Foxx is a great actor, and I'm here for it. As long as you got a good scriptwriter and director, and Mark Webb's not anywhere near this, so
poor Mark Webb. Once again, I will rake you through the coals for having the most inappropriate last name.
No, the most appropriate last name.
No, inappropriate
with the
in
worst
retrospect.
Movies.
In retrospect.
Yes, absolutely. So he's on board. Kind of like he is on board, but no one's saying he's on board. That's
right.
That. And then also, and this was confirmed, Benedict Cumberbatch will be reprising his role as Doctor Strange in this as well.
Yeah, so that's making the Jamie Foxx theory go, oh, okay, we're doing multiverse things. We already know that this is going to be kind of the main line for Phase 4 of the MCU.
Right.
And then all of a sudden people are starting to theorize, all right, well, get Tobey Maguire.
Is this what's going to be connecting Venom and Morbius and all that?
That would be awesome. I mean, yeah, because we already have confirmation in the Morbius trailer of, what's his name, being in Morbius.
Right.
Oh, fuck, I'm so sorry. Batman?
Robert Pattinson?
No, don't do this to me, brain. Don't do this to me. The original
yeah. Fuck.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, yeah. Adrian Toomes or the Vulture.
How could you remember Adrian Toomes but not Michael Keaton?
Because
I said Batman, and you immediately responded Robert Pattinson. There's something wrong with you, sir.
That's what's at the forefront.
Is it because it's coming out in 2 years?
If you said Birdman...
I said Birdman, and then you immediately went, oh yeah, Michael Keaton. Not Batman, oh yeah, Michael Keaton. Or even Christian Bale. I would have been more okay with you responding, oh yeah, Christian Bale.
Look, you had to struggle.
Or Val
too,
Kilmer.
So I'm not taking this fucking, like, up on my high horse sort of sycophant bullshit here.
Well, you already brought me down and let my kink out into the world, so...
This is your retaliation?
Yeah. So Benedict Cumberbatch is confirmed to be a new mentor figure for Tom Holland in Spider-Man 3 Home 3.
Home
Alone.
Home for dinner.
Oh, what if it's Spider-Man Home Alone 3? Not even a Macaulay Culkin Home Alone. It's the worst Home Alone movie.
They're fusing the Home Alone universe with the MCU.
That would be fantastic. Bring back Macaulay Culkin, man. # bring back Macaulay Culkin.
Oh boy. All right. Moving on. Some casting news. First up, Yara Shahidi has been cast as Tinkerbell in the live-action Peter Pan movie that Disney is developing. She's best known for her role on Blackish and Grownish. So, yeah, good cast.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's joining Jude Law, who's Hook, and they have announced who Peter and Wendy is, but I can't think of who they are for the life of me, so sorry.
That's okay, they're not the leads. Fuck them.
And then a newcomer to the scene, Iman Vellani, has been cast as Kamala Khan in the upcoming Disney Plus Miss Marvel show.
Right, so has she had anything in her filmography?
She is not. No, this will be her first.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, Kamala Khan is a Pakistani American who kind of takes up the Miss Marvel mantle after Captain Marvel drops it. And yeah, her comics are great. Super looking forward to this. Stoked for this alongside with the She-Hulk show coming out.
Yeah. Did we announce the casting for the She-Hulk? I think we did that last week.
We did. It was last episode.
Or last episode. Yeah. Well, that's great. Hopefully she's really good. I'm sure she will be to some extent. Yep. I mean, they have casting directors for a reason. They probably saw something great in her. So looking forward to it. I don't know a large amount of Miss Marvel lore. So I'm looking forward to kind of figuring out, as everyone else is, along with all the people who played the Marvel Avengers game that came out recently and are like, oh, I recognize that person, and they're going to go see it. It all makes sense. The whole entertainment industry is doing this on purpose, but
yeah, they do it every time.
Yeah.
And now we have finished the normal to good news, and we'll be transitioning into the weird news.
Nice. Like to finish off weird.
So first up, Barry Jenkins from Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk fame will be helming the live-action sequel to The Lion King. So Disney thought... Is this the one where you leave?
I forgot about this. I honestly forgot about this story.
Yeah.
Fuck. Sorry. Who fucking cares? Why?
So, the most unnecessary live-action adaptation is getting a sequel. Now, that being said, Barry Jenkins, obviously very talented, and that's a huge get. You know, depending on what he's doing, I like Jon Favreau. The live-action Lion King was not it, though. So I like the direction they're trying to go. I just don't know why.
Money. It always
Yeah.
we always know the answer.
True, yeah.
It
that
made
is the answer. Yeah.
$1 billion, right? It was $1 billion, wasn't it? Lion King?
I don't know. It was a shit ton. Yeah.
Yeah. So nostalgia.
Yeah, I tweeted a little bit about this when we were discussing it after it broke. And the thing that killed me was the Deadline article going on to compare the... So what they're going to do is it's going to have the current storyline of whatever the fuck Simba's doing, and then it will jump back in time to show Mufasa pre-Lion King 1. And the Deadline sentence is something along the lines of a la Godfather Part 2, and that fucking killed me. I will still think about that fucking line and lose my shit.
That's gonna haunt your memory for years to come. Even after the movie has come out, you're gonna be like, yeah, a la Godfather Part 2. As you're watching the movie, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, Godfather. That's Godfather Part 2.
I gotta spend some time in MS Paint and just make some really crude shit posts or something, where it's like Mufasa like fucking haggling with people with street vendors or some shit.
I mean, if it doesn't already exist,
yes,
I'm sure you weren't the only one affected by that.
It's been a minute since the announcement, so
yeah.
Anyways, yeah, that's a thing. Next up, you kind of mentioned it earlier in the podcast, but a Resident Evil origin / reboot film is in the works. And they have announced the cast. I could announce the cast, but it's just kind of... I think the most well-known person is from Umbrella Academy. Is that right? Is that what it is?
No, well, I mean, yes, because he's been in a lot of high-profile stuff, but, I mean, Robbie Amell has been in a lot of things. He was in
Robbie
The
Amell,
Babysitter Killer Queen, which just recently came out on
All
Netflix.
right, well, I'll just fucking read the cast, then.
Thank you.
So first you have Kaya Scodelario.
Well, I don't know who this is. Why are we even doing this?
As Claire Redfield. She is from the Maze Runner, I think. Yeah, Maze Runner. Hannah John Kamen, who is in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yep.
As Jill Valentine. Robbie Amell as Chris Redfield. Oh, shit. Cast. He was in Upload?
Yeah.
Was he the main guy in Upload?
I think so.
Oh, no, I'm thinking Upgrade.
Upgrade. No, that was Logan Marshall Green.
Yeah. I was like, that. I don't remember that at all.
That's
Upgrade. Great movie. Go watch.
It's a great movie directed by Leo Ennel, who also went on to direct Saw. Or no, sorry, he directed Saw previously. Anyway, wrote Saw. Fuck. Sorry.
Tom Hopper, who is in the Umbrella Academy. He's going to be playing Albert Wesker.
Interesting choice, but he's a tall.
He's super tall.
When I picture the characters with the actors, I'm like, they definitely cast some of these actors based on just how they look for sure. Because Tom Hopper, I think, is like 7 foot, like 4, 7'5" or whatever. Yeah.
Then you have Avon Jogia. I hope I'm not butchering that. He was in Zombieland Double Tap. He's playing Leon Kennedy.
Interesting.
And then Neil McDonough is playing William Birkin.
Is it Neil?
Is it Donahue?
It's Neil McDonough.
Dono?
It's Neil McDonough. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he was in Captain America: The First Avenger.
Yes. Yeah.
He's been in a lot of stuff. He was in Arrow for a full season.
So yeah, we're rolling back the tape on that one.
You know, honestly, so sorry. Honestly, good, because as I've previously stated, Paul W.S. Anderson, the W.S. stands for wanker shit. I don't know. That's bad.
I know. Yeah. Bullshit.
He's not a great director.
Well, that's very nice of you.
Yeah. He has ruined several franchises for me. So I'm glad that they are finally taking another look at it. And out of all the franchises to reboot, all right, let's do it. And let's make it more close to the video games. I think Capcom is just reining in the leashes of the production team and the writing team and saying, hey, we don't need any ancillary characters. The stories of the games hold up on their own. That's why people play them and continue to play them. Yeah. So do that. So cool.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we shall see how it goes.
And then moving on, Robert Downey Jr. has gone on record saying that his plans post Sherlock Holmes 3, which is in development at the moment, is to make a, quote, mystery verse.
Fuck yeah.
Multiple spin-offs.
I can tell where this is going to. You can too. If you think about it, he's thinking of bringing in mystical characters, like a Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
Basically the dark universe, and he's probably going to be doing stuff like that. And I am all the way the fuck for it.
Yeah, I'm down.
As long as they don't bring back Guy Ritchie. Sorry. Fuck that guy. Just as a person, as a director.
Fuck that Guy Ritchie.
As a director, he's great. I'm not going to say his films are bad because I really thoroughly enjoy them. He's a shit guy, though. I hate him.
Yeah, not a good person.
No, but yay, good. Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. Put your Marvel money to good use because the Sherlock movies are fucking fantastic.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Of the universe announcements, this one is actually like, yeah, I'm alright with that one. I could get more of that. But in that vein, there were a couple other universe announcements as well. The first being that J.J. Abrams is producing a Oh, the Places You'll Go movie from one Dr. Seuss, which is included in a slate of 3 films planned for the, quote, Seussverse, with the other films being another Cat in the Hat movie and a spin-off of that movie starring Thing 1 and Thing 2.
I know, I don't...
How do you get money for this? I guess you're JJ.
Star Wars, Star Trek.
You just fucking do whatever, but...
I'm in my head, all I can do is loop the Cat in the Hat starring Mike Myers, but with lens flares.
Well, he's not directing, he's just producing.
No, I know, but like that's never stopped his films from looking all the same, and...
That's...
Why every part of my childhood? Why, I mean...
Well, this
why
is
every
early
part of my
childhood,
childhood?
too.
Yeah, this is literally... You know, I'm still sucking on teats.
You're still baby child.
Yeah. We're looping it back around again. I like
a baby child who is in danger of being eaten by witches.
Yeah. So... Why can't Illumination just continue to make them? Right? Like Grinch was okay.
I don't
Lorax
think they
was
were very
great.
successful, were
They've been wildly successful.
they? Have they? All of them?
Absolutely.
Horton Hears a Who was kind of a... Honestly, I haven't seen any of them, so... I even watched the new Grinch movie.
Yeah. Starring one Benedict P. Cumberbatch.
Cumberbund.
Yeah. Is that the last story? Are you?
This is the last story coming up here. A Space Mountain movie is in the works.
Fuck off. I'm ending the podcast. We're not, no.
Real quick, do you want to know what my links are for these last 3 stories? Because I'm very proud of them.
Okay.
So
list them off for me.
Yes. For the Sherlock one, the mystery verse starts now. For the Seuss one, the Seuss verse starts now. And for the Disney one, the Disney ride verse chugs along.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Lights, Camera, Nonsense. Keeping you updated despite our best efforts. Make sure to tune in every 2 weeks to get all the news, reviews, and Zach?
Email us at lightscameranonsense@gmail.com or contact us at lightscameranonsense.com.
Email us at... I can't. Email us at whymychildhood@lightscameranonsense.com. whymychildhood@lightscameranonsense.com.
Email us at nickistired@lightscameranonsense.com.
I'm so tired and sweaty, and the Underworld thing took a lot out of me.
That was your own fault. You can't.
It's not my fault. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We will see you next time.
How do you do?
No, you ruined it.